What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, we have a boatload of Mafia news to go over. Now, funny story, really, just to lead this video off, I already had recorded this video, but I recorded it before really all the talk around what the heck is going on, because it seems like there is quite a bit, which we're going to get to, quite a bit around Mafia that's happening next Tuesday, and then obviously maybe even the date of the full trilogy coming out. Lots of stuff. I actually made a video before that, and I predicted when I thought the trilogy was going to come out, and I was actually spot on. Now, there's no proof of that. That's just whether or not you want to believe me, but I will tell you that, funny enough, that is what happened. So let's go over what we know. So this has been an incredible couple days for the Mafia franchise, right? And I want to talk about all three of these games. I even want to talk about Mafia 4 in this video. So really all four Mafia games I want to discuss. It's been a whirlwind, right? A whirlwind. We were basically right on. I talked about on Monday, could this game be announced on Tuesday? It fit that remaster remake bill. And funny enough, it seems like this trilogy is a mixture of both. Now, I have been around the gaming industry in terms of like a commenter and then just somebody watching it for quite a while. I don't know too many examples of games that are doing what it seems like. Now, again, this is what it seems like Mafia is doing. So what do we know? Well, we know that next Tuesday, the Mafia Trilogy is going to be formally announced, right? So we got the teaser trailer yesterday. We got that. They said that next Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, noon Eastern, all that stuff, they're going to fully talk about it. But that was them. Now, the rest of it is just the internet going wild and different corporations really accidentally, I would say, messing up, right? Microsoft Store says that the trilogy is going to be out August 28th, 2020. Now, again, in the video I already recorded that, again, there's no proof of, I said that I think it would come out sometime in August or September. So I really did think that this was going to happen around this time. I think that, and we've been saying it, right? This trilogy, this remastered collection, which it's not, so we'll have to figure out a good way of titling it going forward and talking about it, but it's closer to being done than a lot of people think. Now, what exactly is going on? So, from everything we've seen, from the images, and I'm going to try and get the images to post on this video, it seems like the first Mafia game is a remake, built from the ground up, a remake of the first Mafia game, okay? That is that case. The second game, Mafia 2, seems to be a remaster, not a remake. Now, some people think it's a remake. I don't actually think so. There could be two different ways of doing it, which would make it even more confusing that I'll get to in a second. But it seems like Mafia 2 is a remastered version of the original Mafia 2. Mafia 3 is seems like, again, these are all what they seem like to me. If you don't agree, completely cool. We can all, it's really great that we can all have our different opinions, right? Mafia 3 seems to be a definitive edition. Full game, all DLC, touch-ups, patches, right, in terms of like visuals and stuff like that. But the full game. Remember, Mafia 3, I think, went through quite a bit throughout that game that hampered its development. So this could be what we all had expected Mafia 3 to be going into it, right? There was some controversy regarding Mafia 3 when that game actually came out. So that seems to be Mafia 1 remake, Mafia 2 remastered, Mafia 3 Game of the Year edition, definitive edition. People are calling it definitive. It's really whatever you want to call it. It's putting the full game together with the DLCs with some slight patch-ups, which I will say, and in the video I, again, had recorded that I had now deleted, I said, like, why would you make, and I still think this, right? Why would you make a remaster or a remake? Normally it would be a remaster, right? Why would you make a remaster of a game that released not that long ago, right? Mafia 3 is not a game you could really see being remastered. Same way you could see, like, well, is The Witcher going to get a remaster, right? The only one that maybe had something like that is like The Last of Us, right? We had The Last of Us, and then we had The Last of Us remastered, but it jumped generations. It wasn't on the same generation of consoles, and that's the biggest thing. You don't normally remaster a game that's already out. Because you can buy Mafia 3 on current gen, and then you're going to get the remastered version on current gen. So that never made sense to me, and I think a lot of people, right, that didn't make sense. This seems to clarify it, that Mafia 3, really, if you think about it, they're throwing it in there just because you can't leave it out, right? You can't just have Mafia 1 and 2. They're throwing it in there, but they're having all the DLC. They're having the full game come out. So that makes a lot of sense. Now, the interesting tidbit of news seems to be, and these are, I believe, reports, rumors, leaks, whatever you want to call them, it seems like it's very possible Mafia 2's remaster by itself releases also next Tuesday. That next Tuesday, we're going to get the trailer, like the full, reveal for the trilogy, but Mafia 2 is going to be separate, and it's going to come out next Tuesday, and then it'll also come out in the trilogy in late August. Now, I don't love that. We'll get into that in a second. I don't love that, and I'll explain why. But it does make sense. Think about all the stuff we've heard, right? In fact, go back a few videos ago. We've been saying this. Why has Mafia 2 specifically been rated in Brazil, in Australia, and all these places? Why is it being remastered? And then people said, well, Mafia 1 and 3, they're also coming. They're also being remastered. And it's like, well, but why aren't they ever talked about? Why aren't they ever included? Why is it only ever Mafia 2 that's talked about in all these reports? Again, it's literally listed. The game has been listed in several places, the ESRB rating. So it's very real. I mean, you can't rate a fake game, right? It's just impossible. So why, you know what I mean? So that never, again, that's just another thing that never really made sense to me. It never really made sense to anybody. But now I think things are starting to come into frame. Right now it seems to make a whole lot more sense that this game, yeah, actually it's going to be part of the trilogy and it'll be a remaster, but they're also going to have it separate. Now, I guess the biggest thing to me is, does that tell me that they don't love or have the most confidence in the fact of the overall trilogy? I would have said that if I didn't think that Mafia 1 really does look like it's a remake, right? You don't put that much effort into a game like that and remake it if you just say, we really don't care about it. And again, so to explain why I think that, well, if you can buy Mafia 2 separate, and everybody says, and this is what you guys have told me for months and months and months, that Mafia 2 is by a mile the best game. If you want to introduce somebody to the Mafia franchise, you play Mafia 2. You have them play Mafia 2. So you guys have been telling me that. I believe you. I'm going to do that. I am actually going to get I'll say this. Me, myself, personally, I'm going to wait for the trilogy. I'm going to get all 3 games at once. But if you're one that's that's basically also like me, right, that's heard that Mafia 2 is the one you need to play, well, then they're giving it to you separate. And then why would you get the trilogy afterwards? It is weird. It's definitely like, obviously I'm very excited. You can tell by my voice. You can tell by how fast I'm talking. I mean, I'm excited. I like this. But at the same time, isn't it a little strange? Because like, who's gonna buy? Let me ask you guys, because you guys are Mafia fans, right? I'm sure you guys are gonna get one of these or both. Who's gonna get Mafia 2 next week to then get it on August 28th for all 3 of them? Are you going to buy it twice? And is the remaster like $10 and then the trilogy is like $40? You know what I mean? It'll depend on how much, because if Mafia 2 next week, say it is real, and by the way, the rumors say it's only on PS4. I don't know if that's true. I don't know why that would actually be the case, but maybe it's a PlayStation timed exclusive or something weird like that. But say that's true. Is it $40 for Mafia 2's remaster, and then fast forward 4 months from now till August, and then all of a sudden the trilogy comes out and you have to pay $40, $50, $60 more to get all 3 of them, even though you already have Mafia 2. It is a little weird, the fact that I get it. In fact, again, like, it all comes into focus, all comes into frame, that it makes sense, that's why all this talk of the ESRB ratings, like, that's why it's been separated, because it is actually coming immediately. It's coming, like, literally within a week or so, not a couple months away like the trilogy, because games don't get rated until they're very, very close to coming out. Normally within 2 months. Like, you normally don't rate a game more than 2 months back from when the game is going to release. That's just an interesting tidbit for you guys, right? So it's coming. It's coming a lot faster than the trilogy, because I haven't seen anywhere that the trilogy has been rated yet. So, and again, a lot of these are reports, but I'm pretty sure, I mean, the Microsoft source said August 28th, so I'm going to believe that. It's interesting. It's very, very interesting. I guess to wrap it up, I want to talk about Mafia 4 really, really quickly. I think it's still real. I think it's still happening. Again, one last time I referenced the video that doesn't exist. I had said, and I'll say it again, I think that they can only focus on one thing at a time. And that's not saying like, oh, they're so, like, they're not, like, capable of it. No, that's what gaming developers, that's what the movie companies do. You push and you focus on one thing at a time, because you need to promote it. You need to push that out there to the consumers. So in this case, maybe they tease a Mafia 4 at the end of the announcement next week. I think it's possible. I think it's very unlikely, but I do think it's something that could happen and would definitely surprise me. And I will say that because this trilogy is happening so fast and coming out there, it's not like they're announcing the trilogy and it comes out out next year, and so we have to have a full year waiting for the trilogy where they can't talk about Mafia 4, and then afterwards, then they can. No, actually, by late August 28th, they're done. They're done with the trilogy because it'll be out. I mean, obviously, they have to promote it when it's out, but after that, September, October, November, December, you could do a fall / it could be at the Game Awards with Jeff Keighley. One of those months, you could announce Mafia 4. Again, it's also possible that they announce it during the same time, but it's a teaser. It's like, well, keep in your head that we are making a Mafia 4, but it's not coming out yet. You know, I personally predict it'll be out before fall of 2021. I think fall at the latest of next year, but I really think it could be a spring game. But again, like they could just be saying that and say, hey, keep it in your head. We're making Mafia 4, but we have to push the trilogy. I mean, that's what we're focused on, right? So I think that's very likely. At the same time, even if they want to talk about it afterwards, even if you want the trilogy to come out first and then they talk about Mafia 4, fine. They can still do that because it's going to be out in very, very little time, and then you have the entire fall to talk about a Mafia 4. So very exciting. Again, very weird. I've never seen, personally, a trilogy like this in like a remake, remaster, definitive edition. Like I can't think, like if they did a Mass Effect, if EA does a Mass Effect remaster, which I think they will, I would have just imagined that they would remaster all 3 games. Maybe they don't. Maybe they do remake the first one because it was the farthest away. You know what I mean? It's very different. It's very different than I thought. I've never seen something like this happen where it seems like each game, maybe I'm sure it has happened. If you guys know an example, let me know. But this is the first time that I've like really taken notice to something that not all of them are the same. In fact, again, like one's a remake, the other is a remaster, and the other one isn't either of them. It's like a Game of the Year edition, right? Never really seen anything like that. And again, never seen anything like that. And then the fact that you can maybe play and buy one of those 3 games early, and then you'll have to rebuy it as part of the trilogy later on. Questionable. That part is questionable, but I would say very, very exciting overall. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? You excited for this Mafia trilogy? Would you get Mafia 2 separate if it does release next week? What do you think about Mafia 4? All these things, let me know in the comments below. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed, have that bell icon turned on so you know when all the videos go up, and very, very soon, I mean, we'll be talking about it, okay? So anytime Mafia news comes out, I'll be discussing it here or on the second channel. I don't know if I would get the Mafia 2 remaster on its own, but I'll definitely be covering it next Tuesday, whatever happens. So stay tuned to the channel, and I hope to see you guys there.